Councillor Wang, you have a notice of motion that you would like to read out?
I do have a notice of motion. Do I read it out first and then? Okay. Cold alert response. Whereas prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the winter cold alert response was reliant upon existing capacity within emergency shelters, drop-ins, and other programs serving vulnerable persons. Whereas during the COVID-19 pandemic, due to social distancing and other factors, capacity within these programs was limited. Whereas provincial COVID-19 pandemic funding was available during the 2021-2022 winter season to fund activation of new overnight drop-in spaces to support individuals during a cold alert. Whereas for the 2022-2023 winter season, capacity pressures within existing services remain. Whereas provincial COVID-19 funding ends December 31st, 2022 and will not continue into 2023. Whereas cold alert response was not included within the 2023 Housing Services Division budget. Whereas lack of additional overnight cold alert response could have negative impact on vulnerable persons. Therefore, be it resolved that A, up to a maximum of $125,000 for the cold alert response between December 2022 to March 2023, be funded from any available 2022 Housing Services Division or Healthy and Safe Communities Department surplus or through the Tax Stabilization Reserve number 110046, should a surplus not be realized. B, that staff report back to the Emergency and Community Services Committee in Q2 2023, summarizing whom these funds were allocated and how they were spent in order to address the needs of the community. And C, that the General Manager of the Healthy and Safe Communities Department or their designate be directed and authorized on behalf of the City of Hamilton to enter into, execute, and administer all agreements and documents necessary to implement the cold alert response outlined above on terms and conditions satisfactory to the General Manager of the Healthy and Safe Communities Department or their designate, and in a form satisfactory to the City Solicitor. And D, that consideration of a contribution up to a maximum of $125,000 annually to support a cold alert response be referred to the 2023 Council Operating Budget deliberations to be funded from the operating levy.
Thank you, Councillor. Are you interested in moving this by waiving the rules?
Yes.
So the council wishes to move a motion to waive the rules. I'm happy to second it based on the urgency. We need to have that vote first, councillors, and it's a 2/3 majority is required in order to waive the rules. No problem. And the vote is up. And that carried 6-0. You can now place your motion on the floor. I'd be happy to second the motion, and you now have 5 minutes to comment on your motion.
So for this, this was brought as a little bit of a last minute notice, but as I had listed in the whereas, funding is ending at the end of December, but we are also in winter, and this is, by the time this actually hits the next sort of round of ECS, we may or may not have had cold alert responses. So this is where I would also like to direct to GM Burden to add any additional comments to this.
Thank you. GM Burden, any comments to provide the committee?
Thank you, through the chair, to the committee. We are very supportive of this. I would just have the caveat that we are engaged with community providers, and there are capacity challenges with human resources for the overnight service. So we may or may not be able. We have had conversations. We think we have at least one provider that is able to provide the service, and we would engage with others to see what we can do in that regard. But our ability to offer the service will depend on provider capacity, but it absolutely is something we support. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wang?
I think that's it.
That's it. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. The vote is up, councillors. And that vote carried 6-0, unanimous. Thank you.